Okay, you X. So again, we see the old First Strike versus round paintball thing coming up again, and apparently I was ranting. I wouldn't really say that video was ranting. I'd say it was more educational. One thing I have learned in my life is that when a man who knows speaks, shut up and listen, man. You'll learn something. Otherwise, just carry on living in your play soldier image. If that's what floats your boat, really cool. But then don't be one of those guys at the end of the game who's sitting there crying and bitching because somebody walked up with a paintball hopper with 200 rounds in and drilled the shit out of him. And like I say, when I see a mag player on the paintball field, I'm just going to walk up to you. You can't shoot me. Every time you stick your head out, I will pin you. And I've done this loads of times, and there's always complaints. And the simple thing is, don't bring your mag gun to a hopper-fed paintball, you know. Or if you do, know that you're going to get creamed. It's as simple as that. Why companies go out of their way to make paintball guns look real is also beyond me. Let me give you a good idea why military rifles look the way they do, and is indeed something I have been involved with from manufacture to design to prototype for various very large named companies, right? It's what I do for a living. Paintball is, the reason I do paintball is that when it comes to design, there's no limitations on how I can load a round projectile. There is limitations when you put a towel on something. Now, also, while we got these two in my hands, oh yes, I do have loads of First Strike rounds. I wonder why I have loads of First Strike rounds. Anyway, this First Strike round has a bigger drag coefficient than this round ball. Now, to make this really simple, if I shot both of these out of a smoothbore barrel at the same air pressure, we can't really use feet per second to describe this, but let's say we put a gun in a bench and then we muzzle load each projectile, then screw this into the gun. Okay, so it's an absolute fair test. Both of these are seated in exactly the same place. The round ball will travel faster than this one, okay, because this has a bigger drag coefficient. Now, when we do exactly the same test with a polygroove barrel, and it has to be a polygroove barrel, not a rifled barrel, yeah, they are different. Polygroove works in a completely different way, and we can trace polygroove right back to the American Civil War, where to get a round ball to spin, they had to use a polygroove barrel because they were covering this in a cloth, in what we call a patch. And the weapon they were using was called a rifled musket. Why were they covering it in a patch? Well, for a bullet to spin in any kind of rifle barrel, the back of the bullet has to expand to fill the barrel to engage a rifle in. But we don't get that with a round projectile. So when you're using polygroove barrels in paintball, they're only going to work when your paint is a fit in the barrel, okay? Which is why, of course, when I play a game, I pre-order my paint. I travel to the paintball manufacturers and I go through their batches of paint till I find one that's going to fit this on the day I'm going to play, because paint gets bigger the longer you leave it. You know, what do I know? Anyway, so the test that they did on Warpig, so I'm having people ask me now, is they took a paintball gun, they put it in a Black & Decker workmate, clamped it up, they fired round balls, and they fired First Strikes, okay? And lo and behold, the First Strikes at the same setting on the regulator, most of them didn't even make it to the target. So they had to readjust and they had to run the gun hot. So the gun was running like 320 with round paint and 290s with the First Strikes. The First Strikes are terrible, man. If you look at the size of the groupings, and this is not my test, this is warpig.com. Warpig.com is like Witch magazine for paintball. They don't take any backhanders and they tell you it as it is in a real live test. What you'll find with most tests for First Strike paintball, the actual tests are indoors, in a warehouse, being carried out by the people who sell this. Yeah? You need an independent test. Warpig.com does an independent test. They don't sell this stuff, they're not a manufacturer. They're like me. That's why I like Warpig.com. They've got some of the best tests on there, and it's upfront and it's honest. And most people will disagree with the tests, but you can't argue with black and white tests, man. It's right there in front of your face. Like I say, if you want to dress up as a sniper and have the whole image thing, then that's absolutely cool, man. But don't cry when I walk up and shoot the crap out of you. Leading up to why military guns look the way they do with a magazine on the bottom. It's called price, man. It's called manufacturing price. And most modern guns today now have a straight line recoil, which is why the stock is as it is, and the sight is lifted up above the gun. That goes back to our Eugene Stoner. Check out your history. We could go on about Minié. Yeah, you know who Minié is, don't you? I mean, obviously you must know who Minié is. You know who I'm talking to, don't you? Minié is the guy who invented what came after the musket ball. Look it up, it's all in history, okay? And basically, Minié invented this. This has been with us since, well, the American Civil War, basically, and it worked exceptionally well, but there wasn't any little fans on the back or bits to make it or impart spin, okay? I'm kind of running out of shit to say here, really. Basically, if you want to use First Strike, absolutely fine. Now, the other thing we were talking about was parallax error. Yeah, here we go again. And I have been droning on about parallax error for the last 10 years. You know when I'm shooting at you and I hit your foot sticking out from behind the bunker at 50 yards, that's because no part of my mask touches my paintball gun, okay? If guns were truly designed the way the designers want them to be, they'd actually have a hopper on top, not a magazine on the bottom. Now, people say, what, that's crazy. It's not. The Japanese had hopper-fed guns with parallax-free stocks. And in the Second World War, the most feared things you could run into was a group of Japanese submachine guns, because they were absolutely terrible. They had a hopper, just like a paintball hopper. It was to one side, which is of course where I got my side feed ideas from, and they just put the bullets in, like that. Just a hopper on top, and the stock run from the bottom of the pistol grip up. So at no point would they interfere with the action of the gun, so they'd never have any parallax error. But still, there we go, what do I know? Apart from history. It's all been done before. Everything that I do has been done before in history and is proven fact. Military guns with a magazine on the bottom look the way they do because it's the most cost-effective way to do it. And, you know, in fact, it took them ages just to make removable magazines. I mean, even if you go back to the 1950s, man, the 60s, or even the early 70s, we were still using stripper clips. Yeah, and it's only, you know, Eugene Stoner was the man in the 60s with the company Armalite that really got the whole magazine thing rolling and the straight recoil instead of doing this, because when you shot the M14, it went like this and no one could shoot that. Why am I going on about this? Why am I going on about this? I don't know. Anyway, so, get an education, get an apprenticeship, do 10 years as an armourer, then you'll know what I know. And then you can come and you can say to me, that's not right. And I will stop and I'll listen to what you've got to say. And if it's not right, I will change the way I do things totally. But as a leading light in firearms design and paintball manufacturer, you're going to go very hard to find anyone better than me, apart from John Soster. He's like my hero. And he's a very, very, very clever fellow. Anyway, until next time, I'm getting the fuck out of here because I'm just starting to ramble on now. Bye!